Let me share my screen. Int. Yes. Here yesterday we discussed marquee tag under HTML4. We are in HTML4. Under this, we discussed yesterday on marquee tag. Here, starting we discussed paired tags and unpaired tags. Here, unpaired tags. Second one we discussed here, block and inline elements. The third tag here, it is marquee. Marquee is mainly used to display scrolling content for us. That marquee tag we discussed here with the direction. So you can write this direction up and down, right and left. Only for the right and left direction, we can write that behavior alternate. Here, behavior alternate. Like this, we can write. And then here, direction, behavior, and scroll amount. Here, scroll amount, that speed, that scrolling speed, you can fix it by this. This is what here by marquee tag. Here, marquee. Next, you are writing here UL tag. UL is mainly for unordered list. Under this, how many list element we wanted, those many list elements we can show for our program. Here itself, how many list element we wanted, those many list elements for our program, we can show like this. Here, LI start, LI close. Okay. Here under this LI, how many items we wanted, those many items we can display for our program. Item 1, item 2, item 3, like this, we can write it here, all our items. This is mainly UL tag. Similar way, we can also use OL tag here. OL, it is mainly used to write ordered list. Here under this ordered list, how many list elements you want, you can write those many list elements for our program. Here, this type, if you mention here, type equal to, it is allowed here, circle, disk, square. Here, circle, disk, square is the allowed type. Here, UL tag, here it is type equal to, we can write it here, circle, disk, circle, disk, square is for OL tag, UL tag. And for OL tag, we can write 1, 2, 3 is capital letters, smaller Roman numbers, capital Roman numbers are allowed. For this UL tag, we will write circle, disk, square. By default, UL tag will show you with the disk. Here, by default, OL tag will show you with the 1, 2, 3s. You can also write nested list elements. Those all we discussed yesterday under this UL and OL. Here, now let me share my screen. Yeah, I already shared, I think. Yeah. Here, 9 o'clock. Today's date, 13th November 2024 at 9 p.m. Right, backup. Yeah. Here, after this, so here we are continuing on this HTML4 level tags. Under this, pair and unpair we completed, block and inline we completed. Remaining tags, fifth one here, how to work out with a table tag. Here, table start, table close, how to work out with a table tag. Next, after this, sixth one, I'll go for anchor tag with a href. Here, how to work out with the anchor tag and the frame set tag, how to use it, and frame tag, how to use it, frame set as well as frame tag. Here, frame set tag, and then followed by frame src, how to use this frame set and the frame tag we'll discuss. Then seventh one will go for input elements. Here, meta tag, meta name and the content and all. Eighth one here, it is input element, input type text, input type button, input type radio, how to display that all input elements. Then ninth one, I'll go for form tag, method equal to either get or post and action page. Today morning itself, I explained this form tag. So I'll explain up to text, input type text. How to write it, I'll explain to you. Up to this 8, I'll cover in this 9 o'clock. Okay. Today only I covered that today only I covered form tag in 6 a.m. session, and tomorrow I'll start in 6 a.m. I'll start a CSS2 chapter tomorrow. And here in this 9 o'clock batch, I'll continue HTML4 topic. In this 9 o'clock batch, I already completed pair and unpair tags. Here, pair and unpair tags, block and inline elements, marquee tag, UL tag, OL tag completed. Now I'm going for table. Here, table is used to write a total rows and columns information. Here, we are writing here table. This table is mainly used to write rows and columns information. Here, T head, we use it here for heading of the table. T body is used to write body part of the table. Here, body part of our application. Here in this TR tag, T head is used to write table heading. Here, how many headings we wanted, those many headings we can show for our program. Here, this is TH. See here, you can write it here, employee number, employee name, any number of headings for our table, we can write like this. So this way only we'll write it. Next, under this T body, we can write it here. TR is used to write row information. Here, row information, we will write it by TR. Under this, TD will write it here, data. Table data, we will write it here by TD. So how many TDs we wanted, those many TDs we can show for our program like this. This is TD. Here in this TD, you can write it here, employee number, employee name, employee salary, you can show for this. Employee salary, you can show like this. This is what here, TR and TD for our program. We can write it here, TR tag and TD tag like this. Here, how many rows you wanted, those many TRs we can write for our program. How many TRs will write it, those many rows we can display for our program. This is what about the totally table. Table of information generally will show to the user by TRTD. That will be like this. Here, this is what here totally table. Under this heading of the table, here it is like this. And columns of the table, we will write it like this. Here column information of the table will write like this. So this is what here employee number, employee name. This is what heading of the table. Salary. So here 101 and name of employee, then value of that employee, you can write like this. Here, this way only will write it, that table. Next, I'm writing here. So one more row of the table also will write it like this. Rows of the table here. Rows of the table is by TR. Column of the table is by TD. Observe very clearly how we are writing rows and columns here. So rows of the table is by TR. See, this is this total row. Here, this is what here total row that will consider it by TR. Here TD you can write it here. So TD, each cell of the table will call it as one TD. Here each cell of the table will treat it as one TD. Here row of the table TD, here we are writing like this. Here now you can see that here each column of data we will write it by TD. Each column information we will write it by TD. So this is one TD. Here this is one more TD. Like this we can write it here any number of TDs for our program like this. Okay, this is what totally about the TR and TD. Okay, so next one, I'm going for this is one table. I'm able to write like this. So let me open Visual Studio Code. Here under this, that rows and columns, how we can write it under table tag, I'll show you. After this, I'll go for implementation of cell spacing, cell padding, all I'll show you. How to work out with the cell spacing, cell padding, columns of the table, rows of the table, how to write it, I'll show you. Here, open recent, VS Code. Here it is VS Code. Go for File. Here, open recent. File here. Or 9 o'clock folder, right? So open folder. Here, 6 a.m. Select. So I'm selecting that 6 a.m. folder. So VS Code is loaded with that. So now go for that 9 o'clock HTML4 folder. Under this, mark you tag completed. Now it is here. Here it is mark you tag and here table.html. So now it is doc type HTML head and body. Under this head section, we are writing here title. This is table tag example is the title. Here under this body, I'll write it here H1. Here table tag example is the title. Here it is one table. Now you can find it here, the table, how to display. Here I'm writing table tag example. Under this, I'm going to write the table TR and TD. For our application, we are writing like this. Here it is my table. Now, T hat is for heading of the table. Here, T body is for body part of the table. Under this T hat, we can write it here TH. See, this is employee number, employee name, salary. Here E name and followed by salary. Here under this T body, here TR and TD. See in this TD, here in this TR, how to write our output, check it. Here TR and TD I'm writing for my program. See that TD I'm writing like this. So now if you run this program, see I want to execute this program here, run it with live server. Okay. Yes. Here I'm running my program through live server. Here, if I run this program of table tag, see table tag example H1 it is displaying, but see here it is not look like a table. The table tag it is displaying here, but it not look like a table. Why? Because here I have to write border property for this. If I don't write the border, it don't display any border for the table. Now you can find heading of the table is by T head and TH. Column of the table here TR. TD and TR we are using here for the column of the table. Like this, we can write it here. TR TD is for our program. TR TD is for our program. We can write like this. Okay. So now you can find it. So for this table tag only, we can write it here. Table tag, sorry, here it is cell spacing. Cell to cell, if you want to give gap here, so we will use it here. Here, cell to cell, you can use it here, some gap here. That gap, it is possible by cell spacing. Here, we are writing here 1 second. Yes. Here, I'm writing here table. In this table, here it is T hat. Here, this is what here table tag. Under this, here cell spacing. Cell to cell, how much gap you wanted, that we will write it by cell spacing. Here itself, I'm writing here cell spacing. By this, you can find it here cell to cell, some gap. One cell to another cell, you can see some gap here that it is possible by cell spacing. Here, if I write it here 20, see here, within the table, you can find it here, cell to cell, there is a gap. One cell to another cell, there is a gap here, that is what cell spacing. One cell to another cell, there is a gap here that we called as cell spacing. Similar way, we can also write it here, cell padding. Cell spacing here. So we are writing here cell to cell, there is a gap, that is cell spacing. Next, I'm writing here cell padding. Here only I'm writing here cell padding. So how to write that cell padding? Check it. So I'm writing here one table tag. Under this, here cell padding. Cell padding of 20, if you write it here, see. Here, this is cell to cell, there is a gap, cell spacing. Here, border of the cell to content of the cell, there is a gap. See here, border of the cell to content of the cell, you can find some gap. That is because of cell padding. Here, we are learning here cell spacing and cell padding for the table type. Cell to cell gap, here we are calling like cell spacing. Column of the cell to value of the cell, content of the cell, you can find some gap, that is cell padding. Here, this is what cell spacing, this is what cell padding. Okay, so here you can find a gap between one cell to another cell. See, here if you take one table, this is one table. Under this, one cell to another cell, there is a gap here. This gap, it is cell spacing. Here, gap between one cell to another cell. Here, this gap. This gap, we call it as cell spacing. Cell spacing. Here, content, what you are writing here. Suppose if you write 101, this content, whatever you are writing here, this gap. Content to all sides of the cell, you can find some gap. This is what here? Here, cell padding. This is what here? Cell padding. So border of the cell to content of the cell, you can find some gap, that we call it as cell padding. Here we are writing here cell spacing and cell padding, both. Okay. Next, I'm going for one more one here. Call span, row span. Here I'm writing call span. For this call span, here, if you want to merge two columns in your table, you can write call span. See here, I want to merge these two columns. So I'll remove one column from here. For this column only, I'll write it here like this. And for this column only, I'll write it here, call span equal to 2. When I write call span equal to 2, it will merge two columns and it will display that output. See here, I'm writing call span. So it is merging two columns information and displaying the output. See here, two columns are merged and it is displaying that information like this. This is because of call span. It is merging two different columns and it is displaying that output like this. This is because of call span. Similar way, you can find it here, row span. Call span, it is what here? Merging of columns. Here, merging of columns, we'll consider it as call span. Similar way, you can find it here, row span. Merging of columns is the call span. Merging of rows is the row span. See here. So now I'm writing here row span. How to write it? I'll show you. Here H1 row span. Here row span. Here I'm writing here one table. Under this table, see here I'm writing here row span. So for this table, I'm writing border. So I want to write 2 rows information. I have only 1 row. I'm writing 1 more row. Here, I'll remove 1 row information from here. I'll remove 1 TD from here. For the above TD, for this TD, I'm writing here row span equal to 2. So because of this, here what happened? Check it. See, I removed 1 TD from the next row. And the first row TD I merged here like this. This is call span. This is row span. Here we are merging the rows here. Here we are merging the columns here. Suppose if you write it here. Here if you write 3 rows of information. If you write 1 more TR. Here I'm writing TD. Here the TD 1 or 2. Here name and value. Here name and value we are writing like this. Now you can check it here. See the table how it is displayed. Here 2 rows of information. In this, these 2 columns are merged in the first column. First one. Here 2 rows it is displaying like this and it is merging like this. Here only you can find it here row span. It is merging 2 rows information like this. This is what here row span and this is what here call span. And here only you can find it here cell padding and cell spacing. Cell padding here, content to all sides, there is a gap here that is cell padding. Here content, center content to all sides, you can find some gap that is got by cells, cell padding. Next one here, cell spacing, one cell to another cell, there is a gap that is because of cell spacing. Here, cell padding as well as cell spacing. Content to all sides, you can find some gap. This is because of cell spacing. Here, table, it will display like this. This table tag will be displayed like this. This is what about the table. So I'm displaying here table. This is cell spacing. Here, cell to cell gap, border of the cell to content of the cell gap, then call span and row span. Here, this way you can write it here, all your information for our program. Call span, row span, cell spacing, cell padding. Suppose if you don't remove any TD from here, suppose if I don't remove that TD here, if I write like this, see here, that one more TD, if I don't remove here, this 2 will be merged with 2 columns and this is 3rd column and it will go here like 4th column. That column number here, that alignment of the table is missing here. If you merge the 3 columns information here, you have to remove that all 3 and here itself you can write 3 and you can write your information. See here. All 3 columns are merged and it is displaying output like this. This is because of call span. Here we discussed here how to write call span, row span, cell spacing, cell padding. Is it clear in this table tag? Any doubt in this? Rajkumar and Chakradhar. Kalyan Chakradhar, I'm continuing this 8:30 batch for HTML4 topic. For CSS topic, tomorrow onwards, you can start at 6 a.m. Both batches. HTML4 I'll complete here in 8:30, and after that 8:30 I'll stop it. And I'll continue only one batch. I'll merge it in one batch, that is 6 a.m. In the 6 a.m. only I'll continue your class. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you got clearance, right? What is my plan?
Morning CSS and evening
HTML4. Yes.
complete.
After HTML4, we'll stop 9 o'clock. We'll continue only in 6 a.m.
I got you.
Thank you. And tomorrow onwards, you can join that link also I shared with you.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Here, now, I'm going for the next one here. So table tag completed, columns and rows of the table, how to write it, all we discussed. Next, I'm going for anchor tag. How to display anchor tag and how to display that output, you can check. See here, I'm writing here anchor tag. Anchor tag is mainly for hyperlink for our application. Here, anchor tag href, we mainly use it. Here, href anchor tag is mainly used for hyperlink. Suppose if you write Google, here your application will be directly redirected to google.com. So your application will be directly redirected to google.com. See here, I'm writing anchor tag href. Here itself, www.facebook.com. So because of this, here our application form will be redirected to Facebook. Here our application will be redirected to Facebook. So here this anchor tag, we can write it with different targets. Target equal to underscore blank. When you write target is underscore blank, your anchor tag will be opened in the, your URL will be opened in the new tab of the browser. When you run this program, your output will be opened in the new tab of the browser. Here anchor underscore self, it will open it in the self tab of the browser. Here, next one here, underscore top. So it will open that output in the top level browsing context, and underscore parent level browsing context. Next one here, underscore top, underscore parent, underscore self, or ABC or XYZ, something you can write. With that, it will open that target in that particular targeted window. So this is totally about the anchor tag. Anchor tag with different target attributes will write like this. Okay, anchor tag, different target attributes will write like this. So now I'll write it here. Control yes, anchor.html in the 9 o'clock. Here, I'll show you how the output will come by using that anchor tags. Here, title tag, it will come on the top of the browser. Anchor tag example is the title. Now we can write it body tag. Under this, I can write it here anchor href http://www.google.com. So by this google.com will be opened here in this. Google.com automatically opens in the self context, self browsing context. Here we are writing here anchor tag target. Target equal to underscore blank. So by this Google URL will be opened in the new tab of the browser. When you write a target equal to underscore top, so here it will open it in the top level browsing context. Here every anchor tag is an inline element, all will continue within the same line. If you want to move to the new line, you can use BR. BR for break line. Okay, here only we can write it here. Target equal to underscore top underscore parent. Here only you can find it here. Target equal to underscore top underscore parent self. See that URL, how it will open. This is parent window. And this is here self browsing context underscore self. Here, next one here, ABC or XYZ is the URL. Here, ABC. Like this, it will open. So now if you run this program, run it with live server. See, now observe the difference between all those. Okay. See, if I don't write any target for the anchor tag, see, once you click it, it is opening that anchor tag in the self tab. Here, when you open this blank, see here, I'll open this. Google URL is opening only in the self tab. If I click here, it is opening that Google URL in the new tab. See, underscore blank, underscore top. See, underscore blank. So by that, okay, it has to open it in the new tab. Target. Okay. Here, target. See, it will open it in the new tab of the browser. Here, now, here I'm clicking on it, anchor tag, I'm clicking on it. So because of this, it will open that anchor tag in the new tab of the browser. Here, anchor tag will be opened in the new tab of the browser. How it will open it in the new tab, check it. Here, once I click on it, it will open that anchor tag in the new tab of the browser. Here, once you click, see this, okay, refresh.
Ma'am, their target spelling was wrong in code.
Yes, see here, anchor tag, this is our anchor tag, it is opened in the new tab. See, target I checked, I changed it, okay. See, here also it is target. Targeted URL is opening in the new tab. See here, this is my anchor tag program. Once you click on this Google, it is opening in the self tab of the browser. If you click on this blank, it will open it in the new tab. This is my anchor tag program. See, because of title tag, it is displaying like this. And that URL is opening in the new tab. Here, next underscore top. See here, once you click on it, see it is opening in the self tab of the browser. Parent, it is also opening in the self tab of the browser. Here self, it is opening in the self tab of the browser. Here ABC will open it in the new tab. See here anchor tag example. In this, here anchor tag example, you can find it here blank. See it is opening in the new tab of the browser. Here top, it will open it in the top level browsing context. Here like this, you can find it here all your anchor tags. Here, here, once you click on this Google, it is opening that URL in the same tab. Here, blank, it is opening in the new tab. See here, top, it is opening in the top level browsing context. Here parent, it is a parent level browsing context, and self, it is self within the same tab. Here ABC is opening in the new tab. So bottom line here, top, parent and self, it is opening in the self tab. Only blank and ABC are opening in the new tab. That is only the difference. See one more time, target blank. See here, self load the URL into the same browsing context as the current one. This is the default behavior. Blank. Blank load the URL into the new browsing context. Next, parent. Parent load the URL into the new browsing context. Here, top load the URL into the top level browsing context. Okay, like this we can write. Here, top, parent, blank, and self. So this way only we can write it. Self, blank, parent, and top. So, but we cannot find any difference between here self, top, parent. Self, top, parent, all are opening in the within the self tab. Within the self tab only it is opening. Blank and ABC is opening in the new tab. Here default one also it is opening in the self tab. Default one is self tab. Here self is self tab, top is self tab, parent is self tab. To understand the difference between these all, I'm explaining one more program here. That is what here frame set. Here itself I'm writing here frame set. Under this frame set, I'm writing here frame SRC. I'm writing here how many divisions you wanted, those many frames you can write. If you want to divide your window into two parts, we can write it here frame set calls equal to star gamma star. By this, our frame set will be divided into two parts. Our frame set will be divided into two parts like this. Here we are writing here frame set calls star comma star. If you write it, it will divide our frame into two parts like this. Okay, our frame, our single window will be divided into two parts. See how it will be, I'll show you. Here is my frame set. It is dividing into two columns. First half, first window, first program, second half, second program. This is what here my first program, 1.html program. Here, this is what here my second program, 2.html program. Like this, you can display. Okay, this is what about the frame set. Frame set and the frame tag will use it. Okay, similar way, we can write it here. One more frame set here rows. Because of this rows, star comma star, if you write it here, this frame set, it will divide our frame into two parts. Here it will divide our frame into two parts. Frame SRC, we can write it 1.html here or 2.html or any URL you can write. Frame SRC, we can write it 2.html like this. So because of this frame set, our window, our single tab of the browser will be divided into two parts. Here, first half it will display 1.html, second half it will display here 2.html. Here it is 1.html. This is what here 2.html. So two windows it will show you like this. Because of this frame set example, our window will be divided into two parts and output will come like this. Okay, this is what here frame set. So now here control yes, save. But this frame set example we should not write within the body tag. Without a body tag, we have to write it. Doc type, HTML, head, and followed by body. Without body, we have to write. So I'll write it, our frame set here like this. Here it is title. This is here frame set example is the title. Here frame set example is the title. Here, 1 second. Here, I'm writing here frame set. Within the frame set, how to divide our frame into multiple frames, we are discussing like this. So now if I run this program, we don't have two.html program. So I'll write it here, that block and inline elements program. So now if you check this execution, see here it is showing two parts. Here, okay, so no change in the program, both are look like same. Here one is table tag example, another one block and inline. See here, this first half it is showing here table tag example. The second half it is showing here block and inline. Here, this is block and inline example. One is frame set, frame tag example, one block inline. Yes, we can write. Yeah. Here, this is table tag example. This is block and inline elements example. Okay. Yes, we understand here. Frame set is dividing one frame in here calls. Because of this calls, it will divide our frame into two columns. So this is what here first column. This is what here second column. First column example like this. Second column example like this. This way only. So you can divide into columns. Not only parts you can write. Suppose if you write one more program here, see here. One is table.html, one block and inline, one more block and inline. Like this, you can divide one frame into multiple windows like this. Suppose if I write it here, single window only, is columns and same way rows. Here, rows also I'm writing here star, comma, star. So it is dividing our frame into 4 parts, 2 columns, 2 rows. Here I'll write it here, anchor tag program. And one more one, I'll write it here. Here, marquee tag program. See, and what here frame set. So now if you check it here, this frame set example, first half table tag example, second half this one block and inline example, third one anchor tag example, fourth one marquee tag example. Okay, like this we can divide. Now observe very clearly how this frame set works for us. Here, google.com, if you click it, it is opening that output in the within the self tab. Within the self tab only, it is showing that output. Okay, within the self, not in the tab, within the self frame. Default anchor tag is opening in the self frame of the application, self frame. If you click on this blank, it is opening in the new tab of the browser. It is opening in the new tab of the browser. Here top, see here, it is top level browsing context. It is opening, entire window is occupied by top. This google.com, it is here refused to connect. Why? Because of security reason, we cannot open within one tab, we cannot open multiple applications. That's why it is giving refuse to connect. It is security reason, it won't allow. Blank, it will open it in the new tab. Here top, it will open it in the entire window. Entire window is the top level browsing context. It is opening google.com for the entire window. Parent also here, it is a parent level browsing context. This is also entire window. Next, we can write it self. See here, it will work like self. Within the self frame only, it will display that output. This is self. Here, ABC, it is opening that output in the new tab of the browser. Here, this ABC, actually, it is not a new tab. You can write one of the frame name is ABC. Suppose first frame name is ABC. Your anchor tag target will be opened in that frame. See, if I click ABC, this google.com is opening in the first frame. Suppose if you write that name of the anchor tag ABC, if I write it for the second one, see, I'm writing for second one. Here, if you click on this anchor tag ABC, it is opening in the here in the second one. This is about the anchor tag with the frame set. Anchor tag example, we are executing here. Anchor tag, how it will execute. How it will execute for our application, you can write like this. Yeah. Here, we can write it here, that output like this. So when I write it here, when I write my program here, with anchor tag within the frame set. So whichever the frame name is ABC, in that frame only it is opening that output. This is about the totally anchor tag and displaying the output with the anchor tag and frame set. Okay, this is what about today's one. Yeah, is it clear? Any doubt in this? Yes. Is it clear for you? Any doubt in this? Rajkumar, you only one in the class. Yes. Is it clear for you? Yes, please. Is it clear for you? Yes. Rajkumar, is it clear? Any doubt in this? Yes, Rajkumar, am I clear to you? You are not responding. Okay. We'll meet tomorrow in the 8:30 session. Thank you.